Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my October wrap-up, and I've decided that I'm either going to do a favourites at the end of every month or a wrap-up depending on how much I've read. This month I've read quite a lot, for me anyway, so I'm going to be doing a wrap-up. I will note that most of these are school books that I've had to read for university, apart from two. The first book I read this month is this massive, I didn't read all of this, don't worry, this big Edgar Allan Poe complete tales and poems collection. I read 3 stories. Which ones did I read? I can't remember. I read The Murders in the Rue Morgue. What else did I read? The Purloined Letter. Another one. Marie Roget, or Roget, however you're supposed to pronounce that. This is from my crime class, and this is essentially where all detective fiction started. Dupin was the first detective that inspired Holmes, the rest of them, and I really enjoyed reading these. This edition, by the way, is on sale at the Book People. It's really cheap, so if you're after an Edgar Allan Poe collection, then go to the Book People. I really enjoyed these stories. My favourite one was probably, oh god, I can't remember which one it is. I'd say the one with the, but then that would ruin the ending. I'm gonna say Rue Morgue 369, hang on. My favourite of the 3 stories was the Rue Morgue. The ending I did not see coming at all. I don't think anybody would have, because it is so completely bizarre and strange, but it was really good, and I want to read more of Poe's work. I usually read his poetry more than his short stories, but after reading his detective stories, I'm really interested to read more of his work. The next book I read for my crime class was The Valley of Fear by Arthur Conan Doyle, and this is a reread. I read all of Sherlock Holmes before, but I haven't read this one in a while actually, so it was nice to revisit it. I liked it. I am obviously a huge Holmes fan, so I'm obviously going to enjoy it. It was really nice studying it. I really like studying books that you have already read and that you enjoy. But yeah, it's a really interesting story. The murder and the whole kind of mystery story is really interesting and definitely want to check out. Maybe not the first to read if you haven't read Holmes before. I'd suggest starting at the beginning, or maybe with his shorter stories, but this one is very good. Then I read 2 books for my contemporary fiction class, the first being Margaret Atwood's Cat's Eye. You guys probably are aware that I've wanted to read Atwood for a really long time. I was really impressed by it. I really like her writing style. This is very much a character-driven book, and I always say that I really like character-driven books as opposed to plot-driven books with no character. And that's true, but the characters have to be kind of interesting. The character in this, I can't remember her name. What's her name? Elaine. She was interesting, but I just don't think it needs to be that long. The book is just short of 500 pages, and I feel like she could have told a just as successful story being like 300 pages. I don't think it needed to be that long. I really enjoyed the relationship between Elaine, the protagonist, and her childhood bullies, such as Cordelia and Carol, I think her name is. Is it Carol or is it Grace? I can't remember. I read that many books for uni, I sometimes get the characters mixed up completely. I gave it 3 stars because somebody's texting me. I gave it 3 stars because I did think that it did drag a bit. I suggest if you do want to start with Atwood, as I did, don't start with this one. I'm going to move on to Elias Grace, so hopefully she can redeem herself. And then I read The Sense of an Ending by Julian Barnes, which I loved. I thought this was fantastic. I actually reviewed a Julian Barnes book at the beginning of the year. I read his non-fiction book Levels of Life, and I loved that. I could not get enough. So I was really excited when I saw this was on our reading list. Again, it's very short, very easy read. This time it's fiction, so I was interested to see his kind of writing style when he wasn't writing essentially a memoir, which is what Levels of Life was. I really enjoyed this. It is quite a boring story, but the way he tells it is just so beautiful. His writing style is gorgeous. It's a coming-of-age story about a guy called Tony and essentially his relationship with a boy at school called Adrian, and the book is split into 2 parts. Part 1 is about his childhood and about growing up with Adrian and getting his girlfriend in uni called Veronica, and part 2 is told from his present kind of perspective, when he is retired, he's divorced, he has a child, he has a granddaughter as well, I think, and how past events cause, you know, repercussions in the future. It really looks into memory and how memory affects us as we get older, how it forms our future self, how we can go into like a tunneled vision and delete bad memories and, you know, really emphasize the good memories to kind of create a false past for ourselves. And I thought that was a really interesting way of looking at it, because we all do it. You filter it and you kind of create a past for yourself that isn't entirely true, and I thought that was a really good way of looking at it. He also has a fear that says life wouldn't turn out to be like literature, which is a fear that I feel every single day. And then I read 2 things that I didn't have to read for uni that are just my own personal reading. Well, one of them was anyway. This book was actually sent to me for review, and it's The Woman Who Stole My Life by Marian Keyes. I'm not going to go too much into detail on this because I have filmed a review and hopefully it will be up soon if it's not up already. I enjoyed it, I thought it was good, definitely a different take on chick lit. And then the final book that I read for myself, selfish purposes only, was Civil War. Oh, this is a graphic novel in the Marvel Universe, and for those of you who are not aware, I don't know who is not aware, but there might be some people that aren't aware, Marvel announced their upcoming lineup of films that are going to be released in the next few years, and this is one of them. This actually features in Captain America 3, and I was so excited when I heard, because this is such a good graphic novel that I had to kind of revisit it and read it all again. For those of you who aren't aware of what Civil War is about, it's basically a divide that happens between the superheroes. They're going about their daily business and something goes wrong and a load of people die, and it's the result of the superheroes. It's not their fault directly, they don't kill them or anything, but they fail to save these people. So the government basically say, look, people are dying, you need to hand over your secret identities to us, we need to be able to control what's going on with you. Iron Man kind of goes, yeah, I kind of understand where you're coming from. Captain America's like, no, we need to stand up for what we believe in, we don't need to bow down to government officials. And from there, it basically creates a big, massive war where everything goes horribly wrong, and I can't wait to see that on film. The book is magnificent. If you do get a chance to check it out, then I definitely recommend it. And the artwork is really beautiful also. Waterstones card, I was looking for that. Kind of has really nice colour palette, very subdued. But yeah, I can't wait to read this. I've already read it. I can't wait to see it. I think it's just a really brave move as well to make Tony Stark, who was essentially the first Avenger, he was the one who kicked it all off in the movie universe, certainly. I think it's just a really ballsy move to take that first and probably most loved hero and make him a villain. I think that's just really exciting, and I can't wait, and I definitely recommend you checking out the graphic novel if you want to kind of know more going into the film. So those were the books that I read in October. It doesn't seem that many, but you know, 2 of them are over 500 pages, and I'm usually a very slow reader, so I'm quite proud of myself. Let me know what you guys read in the month of October. What do you plan on reading? Also, if you've read any of the books that I have read this month, then please let me know, and let me know what you thought of them. That's all from me. I hope you're having a wonderful week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!